Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
That woo-hoo thing that happens there, you know. But hey, anyway, hello and welcome, new friends and old, from near and afar and afar. Okay, my teeth are almost working now. You laugh. I had to really have a talk with them this morning and see how they turned out and what they did to me. So anyway, we got to the part of hi, and I'm really excited that you're all here today, and get yourselves comfortable. You are more than welcome to call in and tell us what you're thinking. Any questions, be nice. And you can do that. The call-in number here in the studio is 323-843-2826. And, or you can follow the hashtag BeShareRadio on Twitter, and that's #BeShareRadio. Before we get today's show on the road, I want to acknowledge jazz great and Grammy-winning artist Wayne Cobham for our super duper hero theme song. And also, I'd like to acknowledge Corey Bowen of Crown and Anchor Jewelry for providing me with the jewelry that he allows me to wear on the show in exchange for this promotional message. You can find Corey on Twitter or hit me up at Bonnie@BonnieShare.com, and I can put you together with him. When we come back, we have co-authors of Eating Delancey, George Schaps and Aaron Renzy, and Priscilla Faubel is going to be my T1 co-host. See you back in a minute.
Get to use that drop of rain before anybody else does. But in doing so, we have a responsibility to make sure when that water, if it does leave our farm, leaves it in such a way that it doesn't affect people downstream. You know, we live in a system. You know, the things I do affect people downstream, and everybody along the way has an impact on that. And I guess as a farmer, you know, I feel it's important for me to be aware of that and to do the things I can do to protect that water.
And we're back. And we have with us now Aaron and Jason. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you both.
Well, thank you for having me.
Truly my pleasure. And I want to thank both of you. I know you're busy guys, and thanks for taking the time out of your busy days for chatting with me and hanging out for a while. I guess my first question is, well, first of all, let's tell everybody what we're talking about. These two fine gentlemen have co-written a wonderful book. Here, I'll give you the front of it, just so you know I know what I'm talking about, which is called Eating Delancey, which I could easily do at the drop of a hat. Tell us about the book. What was the first idea to do this?
Aaron.
Jordan, do you want to start first?
Oh, well,
listen, guys, we only have a little... Argue later. I'm kidding.
All right. Well, the book is based on arguing.
We're Jewish, right?
So Jordan and I go way back. We were both working at New York Magazine. I was a photographer. Jordan was a photography director. We'd worked together quite a bit. We had a wonderful relationship. I started a personal project, and it was a photography project. It was pictures of food that meant something to me. I came up with the concept, Eating Delancey, and the pictures were very well received. They were kind of intimate portraits of pickled herring, whitefish, chopped liver, pastrami, a good portion of the pictures that were in the book started out as a photography project. And I called Jordan up one day and I said, Jordan, I want you to come to the studio. I want to show you these pictures. And I think we have a book here. And I think that it would be wonderful if you and I could, kind of reunite and start working together. And I showed Jordan the book, the pictures, and Jordan, you could tell the rest.
Well, the pictures were spectacular. I mean, Aaron is kind of like low ball playing it. They were exquisite jewel shots of classic Ashkenazi dishes of chopped liver, brisket, matzo ball soup, gefilte fish. But I think that Aaron thought of this as possibly a book of beautiful food photography. And I was savvy enough to say, that doesn't sound like it's out of the ballpark. What it needs shtick. It needs personality. It needs voices. Let's get our favorite people to write about their reminiscences of Jewish food. And Aaron went back in the studio and shot like mad, beautiful stuff. And I got on the phone and started harassing celebrities.
Good for you. Well, would you share with us some of those celebrities so people can know?
Okay, Don Rickles, Beth Midler, Itzhak Perlman, the violinist, Isaac Mizrahi, the fashion designer.
Well, let's not, Joan Rivers, we were fortunate enough to have her do the intro. It was one of the, unfortunately, it was one of the last things that she did, but she really embraced the book. She loved it. She wrote about it. She wanted her children and her grandchildren to remember Jewish food. And, Joan was not really known for someone that was, a food-oriented person, but, she was very Yiddishkeit and very involved in the Jewish community and completely embraced this food from childhood. And we were just completely blessed to have that wonderful interaction with her.
And also I see that Jackie Mason makes a stop by as well, huh?
Jackie Mason was a riot.
Well, that's what he does for a living. Of course he was a riot.
Well, Bonnie, we also got, people from all different walks of life as well, not just celebrated people. We had, Jewish mothers that stayed at home. We had grandmothers. We just had a wonderful, array of people that wrote for us. And what it really sort of turned out is that the book became kind of a love story. And it was a love for Bubby's, Tanta's, Jewish food, the home-cooked meals, and and that was, one of the reasons I started the project. It was all this food was going, it was just going away. I grew up in Brooklyn when, I was a kid. There was a Jewish deli on every corner. There were thousands of them. My parents were immigrants. They were survivors. And, it was a completely different culture. You'd come home from school and you'd be happy. Oh, let me bake you this. You need some...
Right. We all ate that way. You didn't eat because you were hungry. You ate because you had a good day, because you had a lousy day, because you missed gym class. But you eat.
Whatever it is. And Jordan and I joke, and one of the things we came upon when we were working on the book is nothing speaks to Jews like food.
And for good reason. See, because if they're eating, they're not fighting. Because what else are we taught? Don't fight with your mouth full.
But we started the project. The photography project started, 6-7 years ago, and it was already changing down on the Lower East Side. If you look at it now, it's just it's a skeleton of what it was. And in all the big cities, California, L.A., New York, Delancey Street's sort of a metaphor for these old world Jewish neighborhoods.
Yeah. By the time I moved to New York, the first time, I was right around my bat mitzvah, right around 13 years old, and I had friends who introduced me to places other than the Upper East Side, and I decided that was a really good place for me. And I liked it. I have a daughter-in-law who's still waiting for my brisket recipe. I kind of like that I'm holding that back.
Okay.
But it will be
Well, if she wants to try my Aunt Marilyn's recipe,
wait a minute. Who had the Grandma Lillian?
What?
Yours is the Grandma Lillian, right?
No.
Grandma Bubby Ethel.
Oh, Bubby Ethel. That's my grandmother.
Yeah, but I read something about Grandma Lillian's recipe too. I was just mentioning. I thought you were talking about my grandmother, but no, my grandmother did.
Actually, you're right. My Joyce Beamer, a real estate broker, a close friend of mine. It's her grandmother's kugel recipe.
Oh, well, there you go. A day without kugel sucks.
There's a lot of bubbies in this book.
Right.
No wonder.
A day without kugel is a day without sunshine.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures now, and I said it earlier, but I must repeat it. These photos are so incredible. You honestly, we're showing them on the screen now, too, but I'm holding the book in case you guys can't see. And I have just opened to the brown challah. Not a bad deal. I could just lick this, see.
Jordan, I like her.
Yeah, I like her too. You should play Words with Friends with her.
Oh, my grandson.
I will tell you one thing, that one of our lovely reviewers, Jesse Kornbluth, headbutler.com, wrote in his review, he said, it's a good thing this book is printed on coated stock because it has to be able to withstand schmaltz stains.
A little droolology. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you to bear with me 1 second as I take a short break, and then we will be back to you, so don't go away. And let's take it away.
Aaron?
Jordan?
Did you read Jesse's review?
They love pandas so much, their logo is a panda. Did you know there are fewer than 2,000 giant pandas left in the wild? They face a number of threats to their bamboo forest home, which is one of the many awesome things WWF is working to protect. But they need our help. Visit WWF online to learn more.
Good luck to you.
You, Poe, and WWF, together, we can make a difference.
You have plans, moments you're looking forward to. What if they were stolen from you by Alzheimer's? This cruel disease costs Americans more than $170 billion a year and could cripple Medicare in the near future. The Alzheimer's Association is taking action and has been a part of every major advancement. But we won't rest until we have a cure. You have plans. Help the Alzheimer's Association protect them. Act now. Go to alz.org.
Okay, well, thanks for bearing with me. You all are, did I just go all Southern on myself? Talking New York? I don't know. I get confused. But what I'm not confused about is that everyone is tuned in to the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. And as you've noticed, we are having a fun time and the privilege and pleasure of chatting with co-authors of Eating Delancey, Georgia Schaps, and Aaron Renzy. So please join our conversation. You can call in at 1-323-843-2826 or tweet the hashtag #BeShareRadio. So guys, let's pick up where we left off before. Tell us more about the book and funny things and eating things, and are we going to make this into a musical or what?
Absolutely.
I already know from Jordan that we both have the habit of breaking into song from almost any thought that goes through our head. I can really drive people crazy with that. It's so much fun.
You could drive a person crazy.
You see what I mean? It's so easy. We keep doing this. Now, I have some more questions here. Now, the recipes that you have included, which, by the way, members of our audience, there are not just photos of these fabulous dishes, but they include the how-to make it real for you. Did you let me ask you, how did you compile these recipes? Did friends lay on recipes, or did you go out looking for specific Ashkenazi food?
All right. Aaron, do you want to answer this, or should I? Because I certainly can.
Oh, Jordan, I couldn't stop you if you could.
And I don't know the answer, so I'm out of the running.
The sweetest part about this book was when we hit on either famous people or accomplished people or our friends, it induced a knee-jerk response. Everyone said, "Oh my God, I'll never forget my Bubby's chopped liver, and it was this with this parts of that." I mean, it just induced immediate knee-jerk response, and we loved that, and that's what brought about the selection of recipes that are in the book. I will say that I'm very proud that my father's matzo brie recipe is in the book. Oh, also, Aaron's mother's carrot simmus recipe is in the book.
Oh, well, now
the recipes came from a lot of different places. Some of the people contributed it with their stories. Katz's Deli gave us some recipes. Second Avenue Deli gave us some recipes. Arthur Schwartz was very, very, very generous, and he gave us some fabulous recipes. Personally, I think his sweet and sour flunkin recipe is just out of this world, and one of the best recipes in the book. People just got excited. One thing led to another, and once we had a few celebrated people on board, other people wanted to get involved, and it was just a very passionate project, and people just didn't really write about it. They were passionate about writing about it, and they were passionate in telling us our stories, and they were excited about it. And for months, Jordan and I were getting fan mail, and I can't thank you enough. And I made this recipe and that recipe, and my bubby was this, and my uncle was this, and somebody owned this store and
Isn't
that recipe.
Wonderful?
Right, Jordan?
I think it's fabulous when people have those kind of memories. I mean, we remember good food, and Italians are pretty up there with the food, and the Chinese, but nothing takes the place. It's home food, it's comfort food. We need it. Yes.
You just nailed it. I'm not pejorative in any way, really. like to think, but it seems to me that the two great cuisines that bind the family at the table, bind the family in their history and their togetherness, are Jewish food and Italian food.
I'm looking at more pictures on the screen. I'm getting very
You know,
hungry.
Jordan, I would imagine that people from Chinese origin would be pretty bonded to Chinese food as well too.
Well, they have to go somewhere on Sunday nights.
Yes.
That's a big switch up. See, every Jew, it's okay. There are no laws on Sunday night in a Chinese restaurant. You can eat pork.
You know,
you can eat whatever.
We almost did an addendum at the back of the book on takeout Chinese food and Chinese food, you know, for on Sunday night. But you know, we had
I
so many
remember
good
it was
stories.
chicken on Friday nights. Every Friday night there was a chicken. If there was no chicken, it wasn't really Friday.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Saturday, but Sunday to the Chinese, with the family. It was La Familia. Say it goes back to the Italians again. Well, listen, guys, I got a jam now. And that wasn't a food joke. Thank you so much. I am going to attempt some of these recipes, and the truth is, I do love to cook. So
Invite.
it's just a short hop, skip, and a jump from New York to West Hollywood.
Yes.
But I will.
Jordan will go anywhere for a free meal.
I'm going to put that on my card for him. Have food, will travel. Listen, guys, I wish you all the best. Ladies and gentlemen, buy this book. You're available on it. Where can the book be found? I would imagine. I'll just be quiet and let you answer that.
Amazon, you can get it online. A lot of the local bookstores have it. Barnes and Noble has it, and you know, it's pretty readily available. But if you want to order online, you know, Amazon carries it.
There you go. They should have a rush, and then they can deliver everything by, what do they want to do now, Jarvis? Come back and look at me. Yeah. What is, Amazon is talking about making its deliveries with those hovering things. What are those hovering things called?
The drones.
Thank you. My God, we have about 86 years of education in this room, and nobody could come up with drones. But leave it to you guys. I love New York and New Yorkers. So this California girl saying bye-bye for now. Are you both, how can people follow you and learn more? You're both on Facebook, am I correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
And I have a website for my photography called Rezny.com, REZNY.com.
Perfect.
Also, we have a dedicated Facebook page, Eating Delancey.
Well, we got all that down, and again, thank you so much, and all of the best. And I'm really hungry. Do you feel badly for me? Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Well, they were pretty cool, huh? So let's move up a little bit. And we're going to send you to the information next is right before we go to break now. I would like to acknowledge the very important work of the Diabetes Research Institute and encourage you to please support their efforts. You can visit them online at diabetesresearch.org. Our song of the day is coming up next.
Type 1 diabetes can be living in anyone.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's not caused by your diet. It's not caused by anything you did.
Type 1 diabetes can be very serious.
Blindness, amputation.
Learn more about type 1 diabetes.
Help support JDRF finding a cure.
T1D looks like my brother.
T1D looks like a friend.
Type 1 diabetes looks like me.
Well, this is, I'm Wayne Cobham, as you know, and most of you know me, and the new record is called, my first record as a solo artist, it's called The Best Is Yet to Come, because I do truly believe that the best is yet to come. I think this is the first offering of some things that are in my mind and in my heart, and I've got so much to put out there and have you experience with me. So you're about to hear some of the newest permutations in my mind. I guess the things that a lot of my friends and the things that I've played with in my journeys, I guess, are my inspiration. Some of it is jazz based, some of it is R&B based, or inspired, I should say. Some funk is in there, of course. My motto is if I can make you nod your head, maybe, and tap your feet, maybe you'll go out and buy it. You know, something that will inspire you as well. And then there's some ballads in there that I really like, and hopefully it'll touch your heart. Things that in a collaboration with a great musician named Brother Dot Deep that are already available out there on iTunes, Amazon.com, A Smile, 40 Acres of Ghetto, This Line, all great, really great tunes that you guys should have in your collection by now.
That's great.
That's it.
I do love Wayne Cobham. Welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. My co-host for this segment is Priscilla Faubel, Faubel. I hope I'm pronouncing it that right, Priscilla.
It's fine.
Close enough for government work.
Close enough.
And Priscilla is a member of the T1D community. That's type 1 diabetes, just in case anybody didn't know, from the great state of California. Welcome, Priscilla.
Thank you.
Welcome, and thank you so much for sitting in with me today. Priscilla, why don't you share some of your story? That would be part A. And then part B would be what message, what thought, what handy little trick, what do you want to share with our diabetes community today?
Okay. Well, I'm unlike a lot of your co-hosts in that I was not the perfect little diabetic. I became diabetic when I was 10, and as many of you know, and so I've been diabetic for over 50 years, so that was a little while ago. And we didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now. We didn't have a lot of the information. We didn't even know that it was an autoimmune disease back then. And my understanding as a 10-year-old was that I couldn't eat sugar and that I needed to take insulin and that if I ate bad things, I could die. Mm-hmm. And there was one other diabetic in my class, actually, and it was a big secret. We didn't talk about these things back then. And she went and had one of those huge cinnamon rolls from the school cafeteria.
Yes.
And I thought, poor Christine, I won't ever see her again. She's going to die. And the next morning, she showed up just fine. And I thought, those people know nothing. You can eat this stuff and live. So, as a result,
see, I pardon me for interrupting, but I was diagnosed right around the same time you were. And I don't remember anybody ever telling me, well, just, take some more insulin. No, my friends were, I was 17 or 15, I'm sorry. And my friends were going out and dating and whatnot. And we'd all go somewhere to eat, and they were all munching down on cheeseburgers and chocolate shakes. And I got to have a green salad with 0-calorie dressing. Remember
And
those?
you did that? You did that?
Yeah, but I got bad later. Believe me.
Well, I was pretty bad from the start. I think in part, I tried really hard at the beginning to do it right. And all we had was urine tests, and we didn't have insulin that was amenable to, short action. So it was like you would take 2 shots, and it didn't really matter what your urine tests were. You kind of took the same 2 shots. And
absolutely,
my little 10-year-old mind said, "So what difference does it make?"
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were always unhappy with my urine tests, and my doctor always said the same thing. So I figured out that if I used water instead of urine, I could come out perfect every time.
I never heard that.
I was just really not your most compliant, wonderful diabetic as a child, kind of difficult to deal with. And I think in those days, too, there really wasn't that much of a diabetic community for kids. Except for this one girl in school who really didn't want to be my friend because I was diabetic, because she didn't want anybody to know she was diabetic. I really didn't know any other diabetics, except for I had an uncle who died from too much insulin, a hypoglycemic reaction. So, diabetes for me was like a shameful kind of thing, something to hide. And it was very lonely. And I didn't do very well at it, and I resisted it for many, many years. And really, I think my first feeling like I wasn't alone in the world, I met another diabetic who seemed like a normal person, and it made me feel like, maybe diabetics are normal people.
Mm-hmm.
And
depends on the diabetic, I've found.
Yeah. So, we actually, like, I remember the first really defiant diabetic thing I did was we were eating dinner out, and we had to take our dinner insulin, and we went into a bathroom, and we decided not to hide taking our shots. And some woman got very upset, ran out, got the manager, and the manager said to us, "Ladies, can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, no, we're good at this. We do it all the time." So, actually, though, and I guess this is the part B of what I wanted to talk about, the thing that I found and the thing that I guess I want to share is that you don't have to do it alone. And really, I believe very much that you need to have a team of people behind you. I think that, in today's world, when you look to a doctor, an endocrinologist, is aware of so many different endocrine problems. Diabetes is just one of them. And really, there is nobody who can manage your type 1 diabetes like you can.
Absolutely.
And for that, you need to have, I think, both information and a support system. And there's nothing like other T1Ds in this community to be...
It takes a T1 to know a T1.
It does.
You don't have to explain everything. I mean, I have friends who are not diabetics, and they have questions, and I'm happy to explain it to them. But there's even my endo that I've been with for over 30 years now, and I've said to him, I will give it to you. Arguably, you are the finest endocrinologist for me in the country. But one thing you can never do is be a diabetic, a type 1.
Yeah.
And but I was in the same boat you were. I really didn't. I only knew one diabetic, and in my early years, and he lived across the country, and maybe we sent a letter back or forth, and maybe one phone call every couple of months. But since I've been doing the show and really paying attention to Facebook and seeing all of the marvelous groups and the information contained therein, I feel like very full. It makes me feel a part of something, and that there is somebody who gets me, and I don't have to explain anything.
Yeah. I've started looping, and
yeah, that's miraculous. I maybe you'll teach me.
Looping is just the thing about looping is you kind of have to teach yourself, and it's a very steep curve. But there are incredible people to support you. And I'm really not a Facebook person or a social media person, which is kind of strange because I'm here talking to you. But I kind of gave up that privacy of not doing that because these people are so miraculous in this group. And they, step by step, showed me how to do this. But it's not unlike the kinds of things that have happened in the past because of this community. I mean, I think your listeners are probably all have different ways of dealing with their diabetes. And some people like multiple daily injections. Some people like pumps. I mean, everybody finds their own thing. I know I resisted pumps for a long time because when they first came out, I had a friend who went on one of the early ones, and she just kept accidentally bolusing herself with insulin at night and being taken to the hospital. And it did not look good to me, and her tubing would get all tangled up, and I just kind of crossed that off my list.
Mm-hmm.
But one day I was in line to get a flu shot and very open to doing something better because I was having a lot of trouble with my control. And ran into a person, and this is how my life is. I just accidentally run into people. So I'm in line to get a flu shot, and another type 1 diabetic is there, and she has an insulin pump. And she happened to be the facilitator of a pumping group. And there I made a whole bunch of friends and decided that this didn't look so bad, and I took the leap, and it was just a marvelous beginning for me because that's where I really started to meet groups of people who would become my really good friends, who were just so supportive of my getting better and getting comfortable with being a type 1 diabetic. So
you've been very fortunate to find those people, and having spoken with you on the phone a couple of days ago, and now I think I am enjoying that same fortune. And this is how we've met, because we're both T1s.
Exactly.
I hear a lot of similarities in our earlier days with T1 and not being the perfect examples. And of course, it was hard enough as a kid to find friends and do stuff, and you didn't want to tell anybody there was anything wrong with you for two reasons. One, their mothers would not let you have a moment's rest, and two, everybody's looking at you, and with that age, we want to be with everybody. We don't want to be different. That's just another reason to not be one of the popular kids. And I had already a list. I didn't have to really add diabetes to it. Priscilla, we're going to have to end our interview now, but before we do, please tell our audience how they can follow you. I know you don't post a lot on Facebook. Are you attached to any of the groups in Facebook that they might?
I'm on Looped, which I do post on there. That's the only place I post. But I also once in a while write a blog for the savvy diabetic.
We know Joanne Milo. She is
Joanne Milo. Yes, she is like she is my general. I am her private. She jumps off a cliff and she says, "Come on, the water down here is good." I jump right after her.
I hear you. She has that ability.
She does. She does, and well,
she's the other woman who's looping. It's I get nervous.
I know she's the one who got me so loopy.
So you picked up her laugh too. That's the Joanne Milo laugh.
Diabetics all have so much in common, including, I just have to say, you do know that we are brighter than most people.
I can't say it, but I sure am glad you did. I hope my son is listening.
I think it's all the sugar in the brain.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't, but okay.
Okay.
I think that works the other way. Again, thank you. Let's stay in touch. You never know. I could become a loopy, too.
Okay.
And love to talk to you some more. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You be well.
Bye-bye.
Yay, Priscilla. And if any of our fellow T1s would like to be my co-host for a segment of the show, email me. You just hit me up at bonnie@bonniesher.com. That's how easy it is. One more break and we'll be back.
I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm a social worker. When I found out that I had hepatitis C, I was a single mother, and I was absolutely terrified.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, estimates there are close to 3 million baby boomers infected with hepatitis C. Because there can be no symptoms for decades, most don't even know it. But if detected in time, Hep C can be cured, and the treatment is simple.
Today I feel great. I'm a healthy 65-year-old. I bike to work. I go to the gym, and I've cleared the virus.
The CDC is urging everybody born between 1945 and 1965 to get tested. It's an easy one-time blood test that may be covered by insurance.
I got a disease that could have killed me, but I saved my own life by getting tested.
Don't wait. Ask your doctor about getting tested for Hep C, because knowing is everything.
And now for my boomers, today's boomer news comes to us from Reader's Digest. Let's take a look. I don't know, I don't know if I want to stay awake or go to sleep. Maybe I want to stay awake and eat all that wonderful food that is talked about in Eating Delancey. But if you need to sleep, then follow their instructions. Now, as we get close to the end of the show, I like to voice my views on my soapbox, which is my take on who gets it right and who should really be terribly ashamed. So my shout out today is to an organization known as the Hidden Heroes, which is comprised of 5.5 million people, million Americans who give support to the caregivers from the military. You're doing wonderful work, and God bless you. Now, my shout down. Shane Patrick Boyle, a 26-year-old, started a GoFundMe campaign to be able to purchase his insulin. He didn't get the amount that he needed. He fell $50 short, and he died. He died because he was rationing his insulin. Type 1 International, and I'd like you to read them on Twitter too, absolutely nailed it when they tweeted, and I quote, "A sad, sad situation when the death needs to be verified on Snopes because people don't believe things have gotten so bad." Well, they have. So keep an eye. Scary. But it is very true. People are dying because they can't afford their insulin. But before we say goodbye today, let me thank our guests today, Aaron Renzy, Jordan Schaps, and Priscilla Faubel. And that's our show. And I hope you'll return next week for another 15-minute trip through the land of Bonnie, boomers, and the type 1 diabetes community. Until then, please visit BonnieSher.com. Follow the number 1, Bonnie Sher, on Twitter. And like the Bonnie Sings Lena, Lena, Facebook fan page. Many of you are aware of the very special role that Sammy Davis Jr. played in my life. He was my mentor. He was my mentor, and he was also my dear friend. So I end each show sort of in that Carol Burnett kind of a wink and a blink and a nod to you, Mr. D. That's it. We'll see you next week. Remember, tomorrow is World AIDS Day. Bye-bye.